So I remember the last concept that we discussed was, can someone tell me? What was the last concept that we discussed in electrostatic potential and capacitance?
The energy density.
Sorry. Yes,
And we
we
saw
calculate.
some on charge redistribution.
We calculated something called as energy density in a parallel plate capacitor, and what did the value come out as? It is half epsilon naught E square. I hope you guys remember that, right? So this is the last expression that we derived, and we did a problem based on energy, right? So today's class, what we will do is, we will discuss few more problems from this chapter, because I don't want to start the next chapter immediately. I'll start the new chapter tomorrow. In the meanwhile, if you have any doubts while solving the problems, if any concept is not clear or something, you can get it clarified, okay? So shall I get started?
Yes, sir.
Listen, there are two charges, 5 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb and minus 3 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb, which are located 16 centimeter apart. So these charges, when nothing is mentioned, can be considered as point charges, right? So there is one charge of how much value? 5 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb. There is another charge whose value is minus 3 into 10 power minus 8 coulomb. Right? They both are separated by what distance? R is equal to 16 centimeter. Okay. At what point or points on the line joining the two charges is the electrostatic potential 0? Take the potential at infinity to be 0. Means the absolute potential of the system is taken to be 0. So how to proceed with this problem? There is an extension of the example problem. So how to proceed with this? Who can tell me? Q1 is this, Q2 is this. So how are we supposed to proceed? Make it fast. Anybody? So where are we supposed to take the points? They're asking what are the point on which the electrostatic potential is 0? Means, what does the question mean? So if I take this as the first charge, if I take this as the second charge, then first charge will have a potential V1. Let's say the second charge has a potential V2 at some given point P. Then according to the question, the total potential is V1 plus V2 is supposed to be 0. I hope I'm clear with this. So where are we supposed to take that point? Anybody?
In between them.
I can take in between. Okay, if I take it in between, then what will happen? If I take this distance as x, then how much will this distance be? It is going to be r minus x, correct? So what is the value of v1 at point P? Let me call it as case 1. v1 at P is how much? Is it not?
K into 10 to the power minus 8 into k
Very
cube.
good. K into 5 into 10 power minus 8 divided by
X.
very good.
X.
Divided by x. See, one common mistake I could find in most of the papers is you people got confused between electric field formula and potential formula. If somebody has done it, please correct it, okay? The denominator for potential is x. The denominator for electric field is x squared plus k into minus 3 into 10 power minus 8 divided by r minus x. Right? This should be equal to 0. So when you solve this, you will get the value of x. Okay. So this is a point in between. But remember, for these kind of problems, wherever they are asking the total potential to be 0, there will be more than one point where the potential is 0. Okay. Similarly, if I take case 2. So what is case 2? I am going to take a point P on the left of 5 into 10 power minus 8. Let me call it as P2. So case 2 is potential at point P2 is how much? I'll take it as total potential at point. Can someone tell me? If the distance between them is R, and if I take this distance to be X, then for Q1, that is 5 into 10 power minus 8, how much is going to be the distance?
X.
K into 5 into 10 power minus 8 divided by X plus K into minus 3 into 10 power 8, 10 power minus 8 divided by
R
now,
R plus X.
very good. It is R plus X, that should be equal to 0. So on solving this also, you will get a value of X. Similarly, what will be the other point which we can consider? I can take a point P on the right hand side of, can I take a point P here? I'll call this as P3. Let me take a page. After page values. Okay. So if I take a point P3 here, 5 into 10 power minus 8 minus 3 into 10 power minus 8. Okay. What is the total potential at point 3? Now P3. K into 5 into 10 power minus 8. If I call this distance as X divided by X plus K into minus 3 into 10 power minus 8 divided by, what should I write the denominator as?
X minus R.
Very good. It is X minus R, that is equal to 0. So when you solve this, here also you will get a value of X. But out of these three values of X, there is only two values which are correct. Can you tell me what are the values supposed to be? On solving equations in each case, what should happen is, okay, on solving the equations in each case, what will happen is, X value should be positive. Okay, because you are taking X value here as a distance, not a displacement. Please have this in your mind. Please make a note. So when you solve the three cases, whichever is giving you the value of X as positive, only those two scenarios are possible. Okay. I hope I'm clear. Shall I proceed? Okay. Next. There is a regular hexagon of side 10 centimeter that has a charge of 5 into 5 microcoulomb at each of its vertices. Calculate the potential at the center of the hexagon. Okay, how to solve this? So, if you take the charges placed at the vertices of the hexagon, each of side how much value? 10 centimeter. Right? So each of side 10 centimeter, when you take it like this, then what is going to be the angle formed by this part? So the total angle is going to be 360. If you divide it with 6, each is going to give you 60 degrees. 60 degrees means it is going to form an equilateral triangle. Right? Is it not going to form an equilateral triangle? Then if this is 10 centimeter, this is also going to be 10 centimeter. So how to calculate the potential due to one charge? So potential due to one charge is how much? K into Q divided by the 10 centimeter. So K is 9 into 10 power 9 into Q is how much? 5 into 10 power minus 6, the whole divided by 10 into 10 power minus 2. This is a potential due to each side. So total potential will be how much? Is it not going to be
5 into 10 power 5?
It is going to be 6 times V1. Okay. Okay, let's modify this question. Had the same question been in such a way that find the total electric field at the center, what would have been the answer? Had they told find the total electric field at the center of the hexagon?
0, right?
0 because of the symmetry. Okay, that is how much ever magnitude of charge you place here at the center, the answer is going to be 0 because of its symmetry. Okay, similarly, the force experienced by any charge that you try to place here, that is also going to be 0. Clear? So calculation part, I am leaving it to you. Can I little bit increase the speed? Now see, there are two charges, 2 microcoulomb and minus 2 microcoulomb, which are placed at the points A and B, which are 6 centimeter apart. Identify an equipotential surface of the system. See, first of all, this is a system of what? 2 microcoulomb and minus 2 microcoulomb. Right? Is this not something similar to a dipole? Can I call this as a dipole? The answer is no, because the distance is in terms of centimeter. Okay, for it to be called as an electric dipole, the distance is supposed to be in terms of nanometer or angstrom. Correct? So here, I cannot call it as a dipole. So for a system of two unlike charges, what is going to be the equipotential surface? 1 minute.
The center.
Yeah. So for a system of unlike charges, the equipotential surface is something like this. Right? So it is going to be something like this. Now, what is the direction of electric field at a point, at every point on its surface? Answer. So what is the direction of electric field at every point on this surface? What surface are they trying to talk about? The equipotential surface. So what is the relation between the angle of the electric field with respect to an equipotential surface? This also we have seen.
Perpendicular.
So that's the meaning. Okay. Okay, they are asking us to identify an equipotential surface of the system. And remember, you guys remember this point also? For a dipole, if you try to calculate the potential on the equatorial plane, so potential due to a dipole at an equatorial axis is supposed to be 0. Do you guys remember this? So
Yes.
an equatorial plane is also an equipotential surface for it. So identify an equipotential surface means you can say an equatorial plane which is exactly at a distance of 3 centimeters from each charge. So that's what they have tried to calculate it and show. Next. So there is a spherical conductor of radius 12 centimeter that has a charge of 1.6 into 10 power minus 7 distributed uniformly on its surface. So when they say spherical conductor and distributed uniformly on its surface, it should be a shell. Okay. So what is the electric field inside the sphere? Answer.
0.
0.
Just on the surface. KQ divided by capital R square. At a point 18 centimeters from the center of the sphere, it is KQ divided by small r square. Here capital R is how much?
12
12
centimeter.
centimeter. Here small r is nothing but 18 centimeter. So this is a problem which was asked in the test. Right. Next. Problems based on parallel plate capacitor. Let's get fast. So there is a parallel plate capacitor with air between the plates has a capacitance of 8 picofarad. Pico is 10 power minus 12. Okay. So solution for this. So capacitance is given as 8 picofarad, that is 8 into 10 power minus 12 farad. What will be the capacitance if the distance between the plates is reduced by half and the space between them is filled with the substance of dielectric constant 6? See, also from the paper, no, I could understand that most of you had confusion with the dielectric constant. Is there anyone still having it? Is there anyone who is not clear with what this dielectric constant is? Anything you want me to explain? Okay, can I assume it's clear? Okay. So capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor is given. What will be the value capacitance if the distance between the plates is reduced by half? So how to proceed? So what is the formula for C? C is equal to epsilon naught A divided by D. So what are all the parameters on which it depends on? It depends on epsilon naught, area, and the distance. So for C dash, what am I supposed to write? Epsilon naught is still going to be the same because it is air medium. Oh, sorry, wait. The distance between the plates is reduced by half. Okay. D dash is equal to D divided by 2, and the space between them is filled with the substance of dielectric constant 6. So epsilon is 6. Sorry, epsilon is equal to 6 times epsilon naught. Did you guys understand this? So what is the dielectric constant? Dielectric constant is equal to epsilon divided by epsilon naught. Accepted? So what is going to be the value of epsilon? Epsilon is equal to kappa times epsilon naught. What is the value of kappa? It is 6 times epsilon naught. So what will happen to the capacitance? Obviously it will increase. So C dash, what am I supposed to write? Can I write it as epsilon naught A divided by D dash? So what is epsilon? 6 times epsilon naught into A divided by D dash is nothing but D divided by 2. Let me call this as 2. So if I divide C dash and C, what am I going to get? 6 times epsilon naught A divided by D by 2 divided by epsilon naught A divided by D. So epsilon naught A will get cancelled. This will go to the numerator. So 12, which implies C dash will be equal to 12C, or 12 into 8, that is nothing but 96 picofarad. I hope it's clear. Clear? Guys, some response. Am I clear or clear?
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
So 96 picofarad is the answer. Next. So there are 3 capacitors of capacitance 9 picofarad that are connected in series. What is the total capacitance of the combination? So what is the formula? Series 1 by C equivalent is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3 plus so on till 1 by Cn. So in this case 1 by C equivalent will be equal to 3 times 1 by C, that is 3 into 1 by 9 into 10 power minus 12, or I will write it as, okay, it's going to be, so C equivalent will be equal to 3 into 10 power minus 12 picofarad. Next. What is the potential difference across each capacitor? What is the potential difference across each capacitor if the combination is connected to a 120 volt supply? Even without solving, can you guess? If the combination is connected across a 120 volt, what is going to be the value of V1, V2 and V3? So what happens in series combination? What is same and what is going to change?
Series.
Charge is constant and
Very good. The charge is going to be constant, whereas
Potential.
V will
The
change.
potential difference.
the potential will vary in such a way that the sum of the potentials is equal to the total potential supply. V1 plus V2 plus V3 is nothing but 120, correct? So Q is going to be the same, right? So what is the equivalent capacitance here? So equivalent capacitance we have already found. What is the value of equivalent capacitance? That is 3 picofarad, 120 volt. Can I say that this circuit and this circuit are the same? So what I did is I replaced the 3 capacitors with one capacitor whose value is 3 picofarad. Okay. Now from this, if I calculate the charge, what is going to be the value of charge? Q is equal to CV. C is how much stuff? 3 into 10 power minus 12 into 120. So what is the answer? Is it not 360 into 10 power minus 12 coulomb or 360 picocoulomb? Right. So once I get the charge, I know the charge on each capacitor. So applying Q is equal to CV for each capacitor, what will I get? What is the value of Q da? 360 into 10 power minus 12 is equal to, what is the capacitance of each? 9 into 10 power minus 12 into, if I call the potential as V dash or I call it as V1, then how much is it going to give you? 40. Right, this is by solving. Since you have to write it in exam, I've given you the steps. But logically, if you think, can you tell the answer even without solving? Because how many capacitors are there? 3. All the 3 are identical. They are connected across a 120 volt supply. So the potential across each is going to be the same. So 120 divided by 3 is going to give you 40. Clear?
Clear, sir.
We'll go to the next one. So there are 3 capacitors of capacitance 2 picofarad, 3, 4 connected in parallel. What is the total capacitance? Make it fast. C equivalent is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. So how much is the
9
answer?
picofarad.
It is 9 picofarad. Right. So determine the charge on each capacitor if the combination is connected to a 100 volt supply. So this is how the combination is going to look like. It is connected across a 100 volt supply. This 2, 3 and 4. So in parallel connection, what will happen? The potential across each capacitor will remain the same. So Q1 is equal to, can I write it as C1 into V? What is the value of C1? 2 into 10 power minus 12 into 100. That is nothing but 200 picocoulomb. Similarly, what will be the value of Q2 da? 300 picocoulomb. And the value of Q3 is going to give you 400 picocoulomb.
400 people.
That's it. It's a simple problem, right? Next. So in a parallel plate capacitor with air between the plates, each plate has an area of 6 into 10 power minus 3 meters square and the distance between the plates is 3 millimeters. Calculate the capacitance if the capacitor is connected to a 100 volt supply. What is the charge on each plate of the capacitor? It's simple. In a parallel plate capacitor with air between the plates, so it is epsilon naught. So it's a parallel plate capacitor. C is equal to epsilon naught A divided by D, where epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 power minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. Right. So what is the value of A? 6 into 10 power minus 3 meter square. The distance between the plates is 3 into 10 power minus 3 meter. So can you calculate the capacitance by substituting all these values? So once you get the capacitance, what are we supposed to do to calculate charge? Q is equal to CV. So C is nothing but epsilon naught A divided by D, that is this value from above, into 100. That is going to give you the charge on each capacitor. Sir, will all these questions be uploaded in study material section with the answer? Yeah. But I suggest you to write it also. Write it parallel. Okay. I'm moving on to the next one. So this is an important problem. See, this is what I told you. It is not there in the textbook, but they ask you a question. There is a concept actually. Please make a note, everyone. suppose I have a capacitor like this, okay. I have a capacitor like this, which is connected across a potential difference V, and let's say its capacitance is C. And the medium in between, I'm considering it to be air. And here, let me say the area of cross section is A and the distance between the plates is B. So what are all the parameters that you can calculate, or you can think of the questions that they can be asked? So what do you think are the questions that can be asked from this? When you know A and B, and when you know the medium between them, they can ask you about capacitance. So capacitance is epsilon naught A divided by D, accepted. Second, there is a possibility, if they have given you capacitance, they can ask you what is charge. Charge is nothing but C into V, or this is also equal to epsilon naught A divided by D multiplied with V, accepted. So what they can do is, sometimes they can ask you the potential. They will give you the charge and capacitance, they can ask you the potential. So here in this case, the potential is V. The next type of question they can ask is, what is going to be the electric field between the plates? So what is going to be the value of electric field between the plates? Can you guys tell me? Is it not sigma divided by, who can complete it?
Epsilon naught.
Very good. Sigma by 2 epsilon naught due to the positive plate, and sigma by 2 epsilon naught due to the negative plate. So the total value is nothing but sigma divided by epsilon naught. This is the way thing. Or this can also be called as V divided by D. This is where we get it. Electric field is equal to potential gradient. There is one thing. Or they can ask you what is the energy. So what is the energy stored in this capacitor? It is either half CV square, or is it Q square divided by 2C, or it is half into Q into V. All the three are going to mean the same. Okay. So these are all the possible variables we can think of from which concept, when you have a parallel plate capacitor with the medium between them as air. Okay. Now comes an important question. What is going to happen if I replace the air medium with a dielectric? Okay, that is first question. Second is, you can insert the dielectric, okay, by keeping the switch on, that is the battery on or battery off. What is going to happen? We are going to prepare a table. Okay, so please make a note of this, guys. So the topic is going to be capacitance. I repeat, this concept you cannot find it in the textbook, but questions are asked. Unless you have a clarity of it, you cannot solve. So please ensure your writing. Capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor with dielectric and switch. Okay. So what are all the parameters I told? The physical quantities that we can measure. Capacitance. Okay. Then charge. Then you can calculate the potential difference. Then you can calculate the energy. Okay. Before that, we will calculate the electric field and energy. Okay. The heading is dielectric. Okay. So here it is without, and here it is with. Under with, I am putting two subdivisions with battery connected, battery disconnected. So what do I mean by battery disconnected? If I take a capacitor like this connected across a potential source, if the switch is open, You know what is a switch, right? If the switch is open, then I say that the battery is disconnected. When it is closed, it is battery connected. And this scenario of battery disconnected or battery connected is taken only when the intermediate medium is a dielectric. Okay. So without a dielectric, if I say that the capacitance is C naught, okay. If I say the charge is Q naught and the potential difference is V naught. Okay. So what can I call this C naught as? Is it not Q naught into V naught? Q naught and V naught, I am leaving it as it is. Then what will be the electric field in terms of V naught? What will be the electric field in terms of V naught? So what is electric field? Electric field is nothing but potential gradient. I already told this to you. So is it not going to be V naught divided by D? Correct, Ada? Similar. Why I am writing that naught is because that naught is used without a dielectric. Okay. Then what is the value of U naught? It is half C naught V naught square, or it is Q naught square divided by 2C, or it is half into Q naught into V naught. Guys, no confusion, right? Am I clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now comes an important question. See, this we have already discussed. I have taught you a concept itself. What will happen when you replace the air medium between the plates of the capacitor with a complete dielectric? With a complete dielectric, we solved a problem also based on it.
So we'll substitute the formula for C naught with epsilon naught A by D.
Okay, let me make it simple now. It's not about I think we solved a problem today also, right? In the place of epsilon naught, what did I do? That 6 was there, no dielectric constant 6.
Epsilon not kappa was submit. I know.
So simple thing is, whatever is the initial capacitance C naught, will that increase or decrease? First tell me that when dielectric is introduced, will the capacitance increase or decrease?
Will increase, sir.
It will increase by what factor? For you to understand, I will show this problem. This one.
Kappa times.
See, the space between them is filled with a substance of dielectric constant. So what happened? The dielectric constant got multiplied to the initial value of capacitance. See, in this problem I wrote d by 2 because I changed the distance also. But without changing the distance, if you are introducing only dielectric, what do you think would have happened? In the place of epsilon naught, you will write epsilon. Hence, the initial capacitance will get increased by a factor of the dielectric constant times. Correct? Accepted? So,
Yes, sir.
here if I have a dielectric with dielectric constant kappa, whether I have a battery connected or not, the capacitance in both the scenarios C is going to be K times C naught. And here also it is going to be K times C naught. Accepted? Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Listen to this carefully, okay? When I connect a battery, okay, when I connect a 5-volt battery across a capacitor, what is the maximum potential I can see? Let's say a steady state current, everything is over, the maximum value is reached. What is the maximum potential difference which is getting reached to the plates of the capacitor as long as the battery is connected? I have connected a 5-volt battery. So how much potential difference you can find at the ends of the plates of a capacitor? It's a very simple question. You need not break your head. I've told the value already. I'm connecting a 5-volt battery and it is connected across a capacitor of whatever value. If I ask you what is the potential difference across the ends of the capacitor, what are you going to say? It is simply picking up from whom? Where is the potential difference picked up by the battery? It is 5 naught, correct. So it is still going to be a 5-volt, correct? So when the dielectric is introduced and the battery is still connected, what do you think will be the potential difference? what do you think will be the potential difference? The potential difference is still going to be V naught. Whereas when the battery is disconnected, no, please make a note of this point, the potential difference gets dropped by a value of kappa. The potential difference when you have a capacitor with dielectric and the battery is disconnected, the potential drop will take place by a value of kappa. It is purely happening because of the existence of the induced electric field. Let's not get into much technical details. Have this in your mind. Okay. Now, what is going to be the value of Q naught? What is going to be the value of charge? So, in this case, the capacitance is kappa times C naught and the potential is V naught. If I say the charge is Q, can I say charge Q is equal to C into V naught? But what is the value of C? Is it not kappa times C naught into what is the value of V? Is it not V naught? So, but C naught into V naught is what? Oh, sorry. I'm extremely sorry. Guys, you didn't tell me at all. I wrote C naught is equal to Q naught into V naught. Sorry for that. It is Q is equal to C into V. Accepted. So, what is going to be the value of kappa Q? Is it not kappa times Q naught? Means what will happen is when you have the battery connected and you insert a dielectric between the plates of a capacitor, then its charge can be increased by a factor of kappa. Whereas when the battery is disconnected, what do you think will happen? But C in this case is kappa times C naught and potential is V naught divided by K. So what will happen, guys? It will be C naught into V naught. In that case, it is still going to be Q naught. Are you guys able to understand? Am I clear with this? It's a very important.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. Shall I proceed? I hope you guys are making a note. Okay. Next. What is going to happen to the electric field? So electric field in this case will be how much? It's still going to be V naught divided by D, whereas in this case, what is going to happen? It will be V naught divided by kappa into D. So if I call this electric field as E naught, here the electric field is still going to be E naught, whereas in this case, the electric field is going to be E naught divided by kappa. Okay? In a similar logic, I want you guys to tell me what is going to be the energy in the case battery disconnected and the case battery connected. Battery connected, same, no doubt. It will not be
There is
same.
kappa U naught. It will increase by kappa.
When battery connected, what will happen is you can use any one of the formula. You need not use all the three. When battery connected, U will be equal to half CV square. Half into when battery is connected, what is the value of C? It is kappa times C naught. And what is the value? So it is kappa times half C naught V naught square. But half C naught V naught square is nothing but U naught. So it will become kappa times U naught. When battery is disconnected, what happened, Ra? You will get U naught divided by kappa. I'm leaving this to you. Because in the place of C, kappa C naught, tell me. I'm not able to hear. Is someone speaking? Can you come a little close to the mic? I'm not able to hear you. Can you come a little close to the mic? Not sure if my speakers have an issue. Okay, I'm not able to hear if someone is speaking. Let me know in the chat box. Okay, so keeping all these points in mind, let's try to solve this problem. Now see, explain what would happen if in the capacitor of value 17.7 picofarad, a 3 millimeter thick mica sheet of dielectric constant 6 were introduced between the plates, while the voltage supply remained connected and after the voltage supply was removed. So first, supply connected. So initially, what is the capacitance? C naught is 17.7 picofarad. D is 3 into 10 power minus 3 meter, and dielectric constant is 6. Now you guys tell me, when the supply is connected, what will be the value of new capacitance? C dash 6 into
AC.
AC.
17.7 picofarad. Okay. Next, what about the charge? I think you cannot find the charge. You cannot find the charge because we don't know what is the potential difference. So I think they are asking only about the capacitance. Okay. Q you cannot find. Did they give 100 volt anywhere? See in the textbook, can someone check? 1 minute. This which question? Oh, this problem, right? Sorry. It's a 100 volt capacitor. Okay. So now we can find the charge. So what is the value of Q dash?
AQ dash.
Will the charge increase?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
6 into, yeah, Q you can calculate it. How much is it? 6 into, or I can just write it as 6 into 17.7 into, what is the value of V dash? Is it not 100? Right. So V dash is still 100 volt only. This is when the supply is connected. Disconnected, what will happen? C dash is still 6 into 17.7 picofarad. Q is going to be how much? 17.7 into 100. That is Q dash. And what about V dash? It is going to be 100 divided by
6.
6. That is nothing but 50 by 3. Okay. So that's all. So these are all the changes that you can observe. See, there are sometimes in 2018, I think, the board exam, they asked a question based on this concept, but it was related to the capacitors in parallel and series. Okay, where one capacitor, this changes will take place, the other capacitor, no change will take place, then you have to find what is the equivalent capacitance. Something like that came. Okay, so I hope the concept is clear. Right. So there are two more problems. With that we are done. So there is a 12 picofarad capacitor which is connected to a 50 volt battery. How much electrostatic potential energy is saved? It's easy. Half CV square. Half into C is 12 into 10 power minus 12. V square is 50 into 50 into 50. That is 2500. This part you can calculate. There is amount of energy stored, these many joules. So there is a 600 picofarad capacitor which is connected to a 200 volt supply. It is then disconnected from the supply and connected to another uncharged 600 picofarad capacitor. How much electrostatic energy is lost in this process? This is exactly similar to the example problem that we did on the last day. So how are we supposed to proceed? You have a 600 picofarad capacitor which is connected across a 200 volt supply, correct, Ada? So is it not going to store some charge? So how much charge will it store? So Q is equal to CV, that is 600 into 10 power minus 12 into V is 200 volt. So you will get the amount of charge, right? So this capacitor of 600 picofarad is connected to another capacitor of 600 picofarad. But what is the difference?
There's no supply of.
This is having a charge Q, this is having charge 0. So how much will be the charge redistribution taking place? See, this charge redistribution is an important concept. When will the charge redistribution stop?
When it's equal on both capacitors.
What is equal on both? What is equal on both?
The potential.
The potential. Most common mistake that happens is many people think that it will stop when the charge is same. Yes, V. It is not V, it is, it is not Q, it is V. Okay. So when that happens, since in this case, both the capacitors are of equal value, obviously you can say that the capacitance, that the charge in new case will be Q by 2 and Q by 2. Okay. Now can you calculate it? So once you get the value of Q by 2 and Q by 2, the energy of the first capacitor will be Q square divided by 2C. Energy of the second capacitor will also be Q square divided by 2C. Once you get these two values, add them. That is going to give you the required answer. Okay. So once you calculate the energy here, you calculate the energy here also. So the sum of these two energies will be less than the energy which the initial capacitor had. If you subtract both, that will give you the amount of energy that is lost. Will you guys be able to do, or you want me to do and show? So what I am trying to say is, calculate U1 plus U2, calculate U here, that is half CV square. So energy lost is how much? U1 plus U2 minus how much? U. If you calculate this value, that should come out to be less than 0, and that will give you the required answer. Okay. This is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what if the second capacitor is not of the same thing?
Can I?
What if the second capacitor is not 600 picofarad?
It's different, huh?
Yes, sir.
Very good. I was waiting for this question. Good. So it is very simple. I'll teach you as a concept, okay? Let's say you have a capacitor of capacitance C1. You have another capacitor of capacitance C2. Here, let me say the potential is V1 and the potential is V2. Okay. Now these two are individual entities, they are not connected. Now I have a conducting wire, I took and connected these two. Then what will start happening? This would have had a charge Q1 and this would have had a charge Q2, accepted. So now I can say that the charge on both is no more going to be Q1 or Q2. It will be a redistribution that is going to take place till what point? Till they attain a system like this. Till the system becomes something like this. Correct? Now, initially, what is the value of Q1? Is it not C1 into V1? Q2 It's C2 into V2. Okay. Now, what is the total charge that the system of these two capacitors put together had? What is the total charge term? Is it not C1 V1 plus C2 V2 accepted? Like I'm trying to say, I had 2 coulomb of charge here, 3 coulomb of charge here. So the total charge collectively I have in my hand is 5 coulomb. That 5 coulomb is supposed to what? The 5 coulomb is the one which is supposed to get redistributed in the new system. So this is the C1 V1 is 2, C2 V2 is 3. Right? So for the new system, if I say the total charge is Q, since these two have the same amount of potential difference, can I say that these two capacitors are connected in parallel? Can I write Q is equal to C1 plus C2, that is the equivalent capacitance multiplied with the common voltage across them? Correct, Anna? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So Q is equal to
Yes,
C1.
sir.
So this is 2. Now tell me what is the relation between 1 and 2. So the total charge here is Q. Here also the total charge is Q. Since the LHS is same, RHS is supposed to be same. C1 plus C2 into V is equal to C1 V1 plus C2 V2. So what is going to be the value of V? Is it not C1 V1 plus C2 V2 divided by V1 plus V2? So this is going to be the new formula. There is going to be like a formula which you can apply for you to find the common potential difference. Once you find
Shouldn't it be C1 plus C2? Sir?
Oh, yeah. Even plus C2, yeah. The process of explaining, I made a mistake. C1 V1 plus C2 V2 divided by C1 plus C2. Okay. So I think this is the formula that they would have given it here. Now I hope you are clear with how you got it. Right? So that is nothing but sum of both the charges divided by sum of both the capacitances. That's the answer. Okay. If you have done this, let me take. So what is V2 in the above? V2 is the potential difference of, in the above question it was 0 because it is uncharged. No, V1 is 100, V2 is 0. So for example, in the above problem, what we could have done is, V will be equal to how much? C1 into V1. C1 was how much? 600. Huh? So 600 into 100 plus 0 divided by 1200. So what will happen? 50 volt. So the common potential they both will obtain is 50 volt. Since the capacitance is same and the potential has dropped by half the value, charge would have also dropped by half the value. That is why I directly wrote it as Q by 2. Shariyada. Last problem of this exercise. There is a charge of 8 millicoulomb which is located at the origin. Calculate the work done in taking a small charge of minus 2 into 10 power minus 9 coulomb from a point 0, 0, 3 to a point 0, 4, 0 via a point 0, 6, 9. So how to solve this? Yeah, I will upload. So how to solve?
Reduce integration. Yes, sir.
No need. So try to visualize it first. You have origin. So only thing is it's a three-dimensional space, that's it. Maybe that is confusing you, but I think it can be solved, not a big deal. 0, 0, 0, da. Okay, there is 8 millicoulomb charge that is placed here. Your job is to move 0, 0, 3 means the z-axis, 0, 4, 0 is y-axis, 0, 6, 9 is yz plane. Okay, let me take this as y-axis, let me take this as z-axis for better understanding, that's it. So you have a charge of -2 into 10 power minus 9 coulomb at the point 0, 0, 3, and you have to move it to a point 0, 4, 0, through which point 0, 6, 9. So you have to go like this and you have to go like this. Okay. So they're asking you to calculate the work done. Generally, what will we think work done is equal to force into displacement? You will write all these things. No, not meter. Can someone give me a better idea? I've told you one important point. Wherever you see the work done, the work which you do will always get stored in some form of energy. So what is going to be the energy?
Work done is equal to Q into V. Can we use
Perfect. So work done will be equal to Q into V. So our job in this problem is the discharge that you are moving here is -2 into 10 power minus 9. You already have a source charge 8 millicoulomb. Okay, if I take this as the first point and second point, calculate the potential due to the 8 millicoulomb at point 1. Calculate the potential due to the 8 millicoulomb at point 2. Okay. Then the work done will be equal to Q into V2 minus V1. I told only point 1 and 2. Can someone tell me why didn't you take the 0, 6, 9 into consideration? How was it QV? It is because potential energy formula, potential energy is equal to Q into V. That is the formula. Guys, are you able to understand? I put an important question here. Why didn't I take that 0, 6, 9 into consideration?
So work done does not depend on path taken. Only the initial and final points matter.
Perfect answer, perfect answer. But is it for all the forces? Is it going to be the same for all the forces?
For conservative forces.
That is what I was expecting. Here, electrostatic force is conservative in nature. So when you talk about conservative force, the work done by a conservative force is always dependent on the final and the initial positions. It is not dependent on the path. This path is only given to confuse you guys. Don't do it. Okay. So due to the 8 millicoulomb, will you be able to calculate the potential at point 1? So V1 is equal to KQ divided by, if I take this as R1 where Q is 8 millicoulomb, R1 is 3. Similarly, V2 is equal to KQ divided by R2 where Q is 8 millicoulomb and R2 is 4. Calculate both, substitute it here. So here -2 into 10 power minus 9 multiplied with V2 minus V1. That is going to give you the answer. That's it. As simple as that. So if you solve that, those many joules is going to be the answer. And that's it. It's simple. Okay, I don't know how they have solved it, but I told you the idea which I follow. What should I explain again? How to calculate V1 and V2. You have the source charge here. You have the source charge, you know the distance. So the formula for V1 is what? KQ divided by R1. K is 9 into 10 power 9. Q is 8 millicoulomb divided by R1 is 3. Similarly, calculate V2. KQ divided by R2. Okay, once you get all those things, you write U is equal to Q into V2 minus V1, where Q is the charge which is being moved. The charge that is being moved is -2 into 10 power minus 9 coulomb. Okay. I hope it is clear, guys. We have covered most of the important topics from this. Okay. So I hope most of you have solved the assignment also, which has been uploaded. If not, try to complete it by Wednesday maximum. Okay, because in 10 more days I will conduct a test in this chapter also. So ensure you complete it and be thorough with it, and you can ask the doubts in the student support number that I have given you. Okay. Any other doubts?
I had a doubt in the assignment.
Okay. Can you just message me, Rohan, on a
Okay, sir. Yes, I'll
message
do it.
me. So let others complete. That is why. Okay. Yeah, guys, you're done. We can wind up.